There is widespread recognition among leaders across industries that the role of digital technology is rapidly shifting. We stand on the brink of a technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, work, and relate with one another. Bringing IT security, and workforce transformation to the digital era have been the three key areas of disruption with the coming of the new age industrial revolution. Recognizing the function of technology in enabling workforce productivity, the millennial employee of today is cognizant of the role they play in helping a company achieve its long-term goals.
Organizations today are rapidly embracing digital transformation, and those that are poised to gain significant competitive advantage as a result of it. Today, if you look around you, every industry and every business is getting modified due to the whole digital transformation and the impact of digital on their businesses and business models. For example, hotels, or you talk about software-defined cars, or you talk about the airline industry, or you talk about media, for instance. They're all being impacted and are changing as a result of this. At Dell Technologies, we look at it in three different areas. The first is around IT transformation, which is clearly conversations around the modern data center and what can happen as a result of modernizing, automating, and transforming your infrastructure. The second is clearly around workforce transformation and what IT can do to be able to bring a digital workforce environment to their employees, and in so doing, allowing them to have modern access, empowered access, and allowing them to innovate at the workplace. And the third is clearly around security transformation. It's important for us to be able to keep the data safe and secure, not just on the systems, but as it moves across systems as well. It is very important that there is an IT vendor which can look at this entire IT spectrum, from the edge to the core to the cloud, and Dell Technologies as a banner is able to look at it entirely across the portfolio of companies from Dell, Dell EMC, Pivotal, RSA, SecureWorks, VirtuStream, and VMware. And in so doing, are able to partner with organizations to enable them and work with them on their digital transformation journey.
We're joined by Harnath Babu, CIO of KPMG, one of the big four auditors, and he's going to be talking about tech strategies for workforce transformation, a complex issue which requires lots of insights, which is why he's here with us. Mr. Babu, thank you so much for joining us. KPMG, one of the big four auditors, extensive presence in India, thousands of employees, 3 lines of services. So how do you manage this workforce successfully?
In KPMG in India, we have around 18,500 employees and 3 different service lines. Each service line has its own requirement in terms of technology. While we've been constantly putting efforts to ensure that we give the right technology to our employees, we also ensure that the productivity is not at loss in case of a breakdown. We have taken measures, be it providing the right technology infrastructure, or right collaboration means, or be it right work environment, right, when it comes to coming to the office and working, or when they are at the client side. So every aspect has been thoroughly seen through a lens, and we have tried to figure out what is the right technology intervention which can be brought in to ensure that an employee is more productive while he's at the client side or he's working in the back office.
Right, but multiple channels of communication and easy access to information, which is what technology provides, brings with its own challenges, brings with it its own set of challenges. So how do you ensure that the workforce remains productive?
So if I have to take a step back, if you look at the average age of people or employees in KPMG, is around 25. That means we have already hit the millennial workforce, right? Their demands in terms of technology is completely different. When it comes to the way they work in the office, or the way they experience technology outside the office, it's completely different. What we have tried to do is we are trying our best to ensure that they don't need to switch the gears when they come to the office, right? They experience technology, they transact on e-commerce sites, they use mobility apps while they are in their own personal lives. But when they come to the office, they should not go through a scenario where the applications are so cumbersome to use, it becomes difficult for them to work. So we have taken the right measures. We are really enabling our employees to use the technology which is more modern. We are modernizing our applications. We are going the mobile way, and we are also ensuring that they are able to work from wherever they want. Having said that, we have been investing in technologies which are more modern, right? Technology has become more commoditized when it comes to lighter weight of laptops, or when it comes to giving an access to mobility. As an example, we have allowed our people to bring their own devices, or when we give technology to them, we give them the best in class machines. When it comes to the lighter laptops, a 200 grams extra of weight in a laptop is not really acceptable to us, right? So we have really looked at finer aspects in terms of what really suits an employee well. When he's traveling, and typically when people are traveling, they are most of the time they're on flights. It should be very convenient for them, sitting wherever they want, and they should be able to work. In addition to that, what we have done is we have allowed them to do collaboration. So across the board, all the employees have an access to collaborate through video and audio while on the move, right? So as I mentioned, if somebody is sitting in the airport, somebody is sitting at home, they should be able to collaborate seamlessly. No need to have an office environment to collaborate, right? So that's the kind of a flexibility we've given to our people.
How do you give customers the confidence that you will be able to protect their data and assets securely? Because you are in an industry which is regulation heavy, very sensitive. How do you ensure that you give customers the confidence that you will manage their data securely?
Information which is related to the customer or our own employees is very critical to us. We leave no stone unturned to ensure that it is protected. To start with, we are an ISO 27001:2013 standards organization, which means that we have enough measures in the system to ensure that we are protected from an information perspective. We have deployed the right tools, be it perimeter based tools or endpoint based tools, or when the data is in rest or when the data is in move. We have the right kind of tools available, or security tools, which is ensuring that the data is protected. So when we go talk to the customers, it's very clear that you're not transacting with a company which is not secure, right? We have deployed world-class security technologies on our data centers, right? So we not only take care of threats emanating from the outside world, but also from the insider threats, right? So we are trying to protect every area just to ensure that the information is protected within the firm.
Right, but when it comes to, say, you have a very young workforce, and with BYOD gaining prominence, how do you minimize the risk, especially when it comes to your employees? Because the days of device standardization are gone.
I would want to split this into two parts. One is devices which are provided by the company, and second is devices which are brought in by the employees. The ones which are brought in by the employees, we give them flexibility to access enterprise communication platform, which is typically your emails and video collaboration while on the move. What we have done is we have created a secure layer on the mobile, which is typically done through a mobility device management solution, right? It's a container which we have created. Everything which is related to the enterprise runs through the within the container, which means that when they are accessing the information, they have to log into the container and access the information. If in a case of a loss of a device, right, we have an option to remote wipe the complete enterprise data. Coming to the endpoints provided by the company. So we have deployed best-in-class technology when it comes to protecting the end user assets, and the data residing on the end user assets. We have ensured that the data which sits out of these laptops provided by the company are backed up every hour or every 4 hours in a regular frequency, right? To ensure that no data is lost. We have deployed data leakage prevention solutions. The data cannot go out of the machine, right? We have deployed encryption on the machine, right? So if in case the machine is lost, you can never open the machine. So nobody anybody who doesn't have an access to the machine or credentials to access the machine, he will never be able to log into the machine.
You mentioned some of the challenges which are associated with driving up workforce productivity using technology. How do you see Dell having helped you address some of those challenges?
We have been investing in technology. We have a vision to give the best to our people and to our customers. We have been partnering with solution providers or OEMs who have a vision in terms of their own product roadmaps and who are really forward looking in terms of the way they're using technology and they're delivering technology to their customers, but also are able to meet our requirements really well. Having said that, Dell is one of our key service providers who are not only helping us in giving the endpoints, which I just mentioned some time back, which is the lighter endpoints for our employees, but also helping us run few of the estates in the data center, primarily around server and storage. We have been able to efficiently use the technology. So far so good. I think we look forward to a good partnership in future as well with Dell.
Right. And why do you think this partnership has worked so well so far?
I think they understood our requirements well. I think it's just not about selling a product. It's about understanding the problem statement and coming back with a solution. I think the approach has been completely different so far. So they have been coming back with a solution which will suit our requirement rather than selling their product. I think that kind of gives a comfort, and I'm hoping that this continues further as well.
All right, on that note, we'll conclude this interview. Mr. Babu, thank you so much for joining us and speaking with us and giving us insights on how technology can be used to drive up workforce productivity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Like the revolutions that preceded it, the fourth industrial revolution has the potential to raise global income levels and improve the quality of life for populations across the world. Consumers being the largest beneficiaries of this digital transformation, it is the workers today who seek smarter, quicker and more accessible solutions to execute their work efficiently while being more productive as they do so.
As an organizations have to look that what are the newer technologies which are getting into the enterprise, consumer technologies. I'll say, okay, you have those data centers where you can automate or you can have the software defined data center. These things are good as an employee where I can access things, but to become more productive, I have to look at the virtual reality, augmented reality, mobility, applications kind of a thing, wearable, which is becoming very popular, beacons, which can, and then say, hey, what are the use cases of this, and how can I take a leap ahead, use it to see my employee becoming productivity. You might want to do the cost analysis, but cost analysis should be done on the basis of not only the rupee versus rupee, in terms of overall user experience, overall productivity, and then judiciously you invest in the specific technology or a complete end-to-end solution.
Joined by R.N. Kaushik, Executive Vice President of Infosys, and he is here to talk about workforce productivity and, of course, the role of technology in transforming companies and when it comes to workforce productivity, driving it even further. Kaushik, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. Workforce productivity is kind of a generic term, but there's a lot of exciting things happening because companies are focused on making their employees better. Now, looking at the global trends, what are some of the key trends when it comes to improving workforce productivity using technology that, say, companies in India have seen and learned and incorporated? What are some of the highlights according to you?
Workforce productivity is, like you said, a very, very vast canvas. And it has multiple expectations from people who are a part of the workforce, depending on what role they play within the organization. So in our business, being fundamentally services, we have to make sure that people have access to information and systems wherever they are, on whatever device they have to, securely. And user expectation is they should have the information at their fingertips or on the device of whatever form factor that they're provided with, to get access to all the applications that they need to without worrying about how much do I have to spend time on this application, this information to provide some meaningful insights into it. So it has changed over the years. It has, earlier we used to VPN in over the dual factor authentication and things like that. Today they just want to do it on their mobile without at max opening an application. Right? They don't want to go through multi-factor authentications and things like that.
All right. Now, you mentioned user expectations. There comes in the challenge, right? In terms of pairing the right resources, with the right tools, how do companies go about it? How does Infosys go about it to drive up workforce productivity?
So let's look at a couple of scenarios. One is if we have to enable a developer, right? Today, for example, we have launched work from home for people within certain guidelines. And based on approval from managers and based on the contracts that we have with customers allowing it, people can actually log in from home for development work. So that is a profile of people who would be more productive because they are able to balance a little better between their work life and personal lives when it matters. The second set would be all the managers who are fundamentally into approvals and systems. It could be project-related approvals, it could be travel-related approvals. These are only application-level access, where, for example, today we have approval over emails directly into apps. This was not very popular a few years ago, if you remember. And today, just on an email, somebody can say approve, and it writes back into the system and sends a confirmation back to the user. Now, if you look at the time to log into an application to do an approval, let's say it takes about 10 minutes. Now it's seconds. Now that's a huge gain in productivity for somebody.
How do you gauge the extent of the role that technology plays in driving up workforce productivity? Does it kind of inherently make you stay ahead of the curve? Because you are a technology company, so you are expected to use technological solutions to drive up workforce productivity.
Absolutely. Without technology, we'll be cavemen, if you will, right, in our business. So it is the underlying layer of enablement for us in anything and everything that we do. Now, what level of technology do we use? For example, in training, we used to have a lot of desktops which were ready for every batch, every technology, depending on the classroom, so that people move between those classrooms to be enabled to learn. Today, we have deployed a complete VDI infrastructure, where within minutes, the same person in the same position can be given a new image to learn technology. So that has actually made not only the learner, but also the tutor more productive. The tutors come back and tell us that they are able to do more within the same 8-10 hours of a work day with a trainee who's come straight out of college and trying to become a world-class software professional.
The world is becoming more open when it comes to, of course, devices and the way employees use them to access corporate data. That brings with it, of course, the baggage of security issues. So how does Infosys deal with these kind of issues?
So today we have BYOD, as they call it, for all employees. We encourage people to bring their own device and get them enabled. We also have company-owned devices that are provided to certain employees.
But what about the ancillary issues which might arise, especially when it comes to the back end, which, say, a lot of your IT managers might be worried about?
My opinion, it will take away a lot of the load on IT. The reason is, once you have BYOD, the entire support infrastructure required to maintain a device becomes a user's responsibility. And that is a benefit that globally people who have adopted BYOD have expressed consistently. And also the cost to the company would reduce because the user takes responsibility of the device and all associated costs to it. Whereas apart from the enablement, access enablement layer to applications and infrastructure, nothing else in the company changes actually.
All right. Now, we've covered a lot of points when it comes to tech strategies for workforce transformation. So if you look at Dell, which is a very important partner with Infosys, how do you see Dell addressing a lot of how has Dell addressed a lot of these issues that you had mentioned at Infosys to help the workforce at Infosys become more productive?
So Dell as it was and Dell EMC as it is today has been a partner for about 15 years. And fundamentally on compute and storage, we have been partnering on mobile platform, which is the laptops, desktops and servers and storage. They are a part of the core infrastructure. We don't have too many vendor partners in most areas that we work with. We believe in standardization. And over a period of time, I think they have continued to bring the best and the latest to us as our needs grow. They've also, I think, through acquisitions and innovation, both brought newer technologies to us. Now with Dell EMC being one, we have to explore more. To me, I think it's more than the technology, they're customer focused. When there is a problem, they actually solve the problem first and then talk to you about all other associated processes. Now, very few companies in the world do that, right? At the same time, Dell supply chain, is one of the leading or one of the best in the world. We have benefited from that because in our business there are so many requirements that come up in the last minute, and we look at Dell to help with it, and they have done a good job with that.
All right, a win-win situation for everyone.
Everybody, actually.
All right. On that note, we'll conclude this interview. Kaushik, thank you so much for giving us time for this interview. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.